what's going on, team? So we are going to dive into a three-part series on cardiovascular activity and cardiovascular adaptations as it pertains to fat loss. So we want to first talk about, we're looking purely at the energy equation, we're looking at purely using as cardiovascular activity or aerobic activity from a fat loss perspective. So today we're going to kind of go through the good, the bad, and the ugly in today's session. So cardiovascular exercise as a fat loss modality has been proven fairly ineffective, or at least very inefficient, from study after study. So why would that be? Why would it not be, hey, it's calories in, calories out, right? And if I'm putting a lot of calories out via activity, why would I not be able to say run for 300 calorie burn and then eat a 300 calorie donut? And why would that not equal its way out? Well, it's important to note that in a lot of times when I reference some of these studies, we are talking about entrained individuals. Okay, so these are people that have been fit for a while. However, there are studies on untrained individuals that show that demonstrate that cardio is not really effective or doesn't work on a calorie for calorie basis. So let's kind of dive into what happens when we do cardio. Basically, three major adaptations occur when we do cardiovascular exercise. The first is an increased stroke volume over time. So stroke volume is the amount of blood that the heart can circulate per beat. So a high stroke volume is a strong, healthy heart. So if my heart is strong and healthy, it can output a lot of blood volume per beat, so it doesn't have to work as hard. So picture if it's the heart's job to bail blood all day. And if it has a higher stroke volume, it has a larger bucket. So it doesn't have to do as much activity because it has a larger bucket because it's nice and strong. All right, another way to look at it is the heart is a muscle. It's one of the strongest muscles in the human body. So if our muscles are strong, we can lift more load, okay, and not have to work as hard. So the second thing, and this is kind of an offset of higher stroke volume, is because your heart is stronger and more efficient and can pump more blood per beat, it doesn't have to beat as much. So you'll have a slower resting heart rate. That's gonna mean less oxygen consumption and less calories burned throughout the day and over time during activity itself. So when I was proving our healthy habits webinar that I could make a habit of running, and I was running every morning and I continue to run. The run began to be easier and easier and easier because of an increased stroke volume and lower resting heart rate. And it really would get to the point, like this afternoon, this morning, I ran at 6.3 and hardly even broke a sweat for 11 minutes, where that would used to leave me huffing and puffing. So my heart is more efficient. By the way, these are great adaptations. You want to have a large stroke volume, and you absolutely want to have a low resting heart rate for longevity and life expectancy and energy production and all that. It's just an efficient heart. An efficient heart doesn't burn very many calories, okay, because it is efficient. So picture your car doesn't burn a lot of gas if it runs half on solar energy. So we kind of want that strong heart. The third is kind of what I was just been taking you through, is metabolic efficiency. So our mitochondria becomes denser, our body just becomes a lot more efficient at extracting energy and conserving energy during movement. And if you think about this from an evolutionary standpoint, if we're always on the hunt and we're constantly getting outrun by our prey, and our heart didn't have these metabolic efficiencies or higher stroke volume, lower resting heart rate, we would never be able to keep up and catch prey. So this is just the body's way that when you're in hunting phase, like running and hurrying and trying to catch that dinner, so to speak, the body will come up with pretty quick adaptations so it can keep you on the move, because from its evolutionary standpoint, it wants you to catch that rabbit or that saber-toothed tiger or whatever it is that you're trying to catch, because that might be the only time you eat that week. Okay, so if our heart became less efficient as we did activity, we probably wouldn't be alive today. So it's kind of an evolutionary mechanism. And again, if you just look at it when the first time maybe you curled 25 pounds for 10, it might have been very, very hard, and then that became easier over time. So that are the top 3 reasons why you might be getting frustrated, and the more cardio you're doing, the more efficient you're getting, the less calories you might be burning in a 24-hour period, and the less calories you're getting out of that activity itself. So yeah, you might program in your height, not your height, but your age and your weight in that treadmill. It might say 200 calories, when in actuality, maybe it's 80 calories. So you are receiving some fat burning benefit from that time. It just, we tend to put a really high expectation on it, especially when that cardio is hard, when we're sweating and, no one wants to admit, hey, I just ran for 45 minutes, and hardly burned off a Twinkie, and again, it's a law of diminishing returns with cardio. The more we do, the more efficient we become. So in part 2, we're gonna dive a little bit deeper into some of the adaptations. And then in part 3, we're gonna talk about some solutions to getting the most bang for your cardiovascular buck. So for right now, definitely do cardio. It is very healthy. Your heart will thank you for it. Your kids will thank you for it. Your life will pour in an abundance of energy, but you want to just be careful. If we could take anything out of today, we just want to be careful we don't put too high of expectation from the caloric burn. We can't go and eat 1,000 calories at Thanksgiving and then go burn it on the treadmill. I really, really wish it worked that way, but because of metabolic efficiency, it doesn't. So cool. We will see you in part 2 and dive a little bit deeper into these adaptations and get into some solutions.